up, man? The search is over and I've got something to show you guys. Hopefully you're gonna love it as much as I do. Roll that intro. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Guitar Talk with me, Dan, and I have been on a mission for ages to find myself the perfect birth year guitar. I was born in 1985 and that means two things. One, I'm getting old, and two, it is not a great year for birth year guitars, and we'll go into that in a minute. But after lots of searching, lots of looking around, and a false start and all that kind of stuff, I picked up this ultra cool Gibson Q-300, Q-3000, kind of depending on what they felt like calling it at the time. But I've got one of these, so let's take a dive in. So trying to find a 1985 guitar is really, really difficult. I wanted to be a bit snobby about it because I wanted to get it right. I had a Japanese Tokai 1985 Strat copy for a while and I just wasn't satisfied. It wasn't as good as my 79 Strat. It always felt like, yeah, I've done it, I've got an 85, it'll do. And I was never excited. I never wanted to pick it up and play it. So it wasn't the one. But other than that, like, the market is saturated with Westone Spectrums and Westone Thunders. Nothing wrong with Westone, but like I said, I wanted to be a bit snobby about it. Guitars that are listed as 1985, but there isn't really a way of telling they're 1985, so people just list them as, oh, it's an 80s guitar, so I'll say 85 because that's in the middle of the 80s. And guitars where like Strats with System 1 trems, the like weird locking trem that Fender came up with, which one of Fender's own employees, I had a guitar with that trem system on and it was awful. And one of Fender's employees, when they saw that guitar, when I was talking to them, said like, that is the worst thing that Fender ever did, was that trem system. And it was horrible. So I didn't want to buy a guitar with a System 1 trem on. And to be honest, again, a lot of guitars are always like 85/86 and serial numbers are a bit sketchy. Gibsons and all that kind of stuff, you're trying to find an 85 Gibson Les Paul at a decent price that hasn't had like a Kayla stuck on it or something like that. Or they do like a custom shop Explorer and they just kind of hack a big part out of it because it's the 80s and people will love that. Trying to find anything in 1985 is just an absolute minefield. But I came across this on eBay, a custom shop Q-300. I had no idea what it was. I just thought, that looks kind of cool. It's a Gibson, USA made. It's got Gibson serial numbers, so it's easy to date. It's 1985, and shockingly, it was listed at under £1,200 in the UK, which custom shop Gibson, vintage Gibson for under 1,200 quid is absolutely insane. So I snapped it up, and then that's where things got really interesting. So trying to find information on this guitar has been an absolute mission. All I know is that in 1984, 1985, 1986, around there, Gibson came out with this Q series to try and capitalize on hair metal, super strats, all that kind of stuff. Les Pauls were dead in the water. Slash hadn't, like, Appetite for Destruction wasn't out yet. Slash hadn't saved the Les Paul, and this was Gibson's attempt to get into the super strat market. There's a few models like the 200 that have got a humbucker and a single coil, and some that have got single coils, some that have got just a single humbucker. But apparently the 3P90 version is the rarest one you can get, with less than 100 being made. No one knows how many exactly were made, only that it was less than 100. And How many have survived to this day, I don't know. But this makes this guitar one of the rarest Gibsons ever made. And I can't believe I got it. I didn't even know what it was. Trying to find information on them and conflicting information is very, very difficult. Trogley did a great video on the Q series, but even he's like not sure about details exactly of these guitars, other than that this was the rarest one. But yeah, straight up, if anyone out there is watching this and they've got some solid concrete information on these guitars and you want to get in touch and just have a chat about it, I would love to talk to you about this guitar. But more clips, let's dive in deeper. The specs on the body on this, which, you know, again, it's going to be hearsay for some of it because depending on where you look online, there's conflicting information out there. Some places list it as an older body, some places list it as a mahogany body. I think from looking inside the control cavity that it is a mahogany body in the way where it feels when you knock it. It's in such good condition that I don't want to kind of scrape the finish down anywhere to have a look, because obviously 40-year-old guitar, one of the rarest Gibsons you can get, I don't want to do anything too intrusive to it. 3 P90 pickups in this. These, again, from what I've read online, are mid-70s to late 70s P90s that Gibson just weren't doing anything with, so they just chucked them in these guitars. They are the clear bobbin style. When I Googled the pickups, when I had a look to see what was in there, amusingly, there's like eBay listings for these pickups where they're £500-600, £900 for a set. So hilariously, buying this for under £1,200, and people are trying to sell the pickups for 900 quid for a pair, and there's 3 of them, just is absolutely hilarious. But 3 P90s, volume, tone, Kahler flyer trem that's got made in USA written in many places, just to let you know it's made in the USA. A 3-way selector which does stuff with the middle pickup, so you've got on, off, and then a either in phase, out phase, series, parallel kind of, I don't know what it does, but it does something to the middle pickup. You've got a 3-way selector for the actual pickups. That opens up a massive variety of tones on the guitar, because it means you can have bridge, bridge and neck, neck, bridge and middle, neck and middle, all 3 pickups. There is a variety of tones that you can get out of this. Obviously, in terms of pairing this with like super strat style territory in the 80s, 3 P90s and a Kahler trem is not something that springs to mind when I think of let's get in on that hair metal scene. But they did it and it sounds great. To the next side of things on here, we have got 22 frets. It's an ebony fretboard. The profile on the neck, if I was going to equate it to like a modern Gibson, I would say it's closer to a 60s style neck, a little bit thinner, still round on the back. Obviously this is supposed to be like a shredding metal 80s guitar. It's not Ibanez thin or anything like that, but I would equate it closest to like a 60s style profile. Then we've got the locking gubbins up here for the Kahler trem, a nut as well for standard, and then we've got Grover tuners on there as well. And then the headstock, as you can see, is like an Explorer style headstock with a straight little cut across there. The sounds and tones that you can get out of this guitar are surprisingly versatile with the 3 P90s. Obviously you get the dynamics and clarity of single coils, but then you get the fatness of humbuckers as well. So it makes it an absolute tonal workhorse with all of the switching options that you get on here. it's perfect for me for the style of music. When I wanted to get a birthier guitar, one thing I wanted to be able to do was use it. And where mostly these days I play like southern rock, modern country, all that kind of stuff, these pickups are absolutely perfect for that. You can get really nice bloomy, overdriven tones, nice spanky clean tones. It is an absolute tonal machine. There are a few little design choices on here that completely don't make sense to me, but you know, it is what it is. The first one being the position of the strap button. This is the original strap button location where they put them on this model. I don't want to drill another hole into it to move it, so I've put a locking strap button on there so I can lock a strap in place. This strap I put on there isn't a locking one, but like that doesn't make any sense. The only thing I can think is that they were thinking like, yeah, 80s guitar, everyone's gonna have their foot up on the monitor for the entire set, and they're just gonna play like guitar like this for the entire set. That's how the only way it makes sense. So don't understand why they've put the strap button where they have, but it is what it is. The other thing is, get rid of that. The other thing is the locking system up here is really in the way. So when this guitar came through, I had to do like a little bit of cleanup on it and a bit of a setup. It had a bit of a bow in the neck, so I needed to tighten the truss rod. What Gibson have done with the truss rod cover is rather than make like a special truss rod cover, they've just taken a Gibson truss rod cover and just cut it off. Not even like completely straight. They obviously just got like a little saw or something, just went zzz, that'll do. It's got the standard Gibson truss rod end on it, so you've got to have like the little wrench rather than an Allen key, and it sits under here, and then where you've got this, trying to get a wrench under there, it doesn't fit under there. I tried several different wrenches and stuff, and you cannot get under this system to get to the truss rod. So you have to loosen all the strings, take this whole system off, adjust the truss rod, and then obviously you need to put this back on, tune it all up to pitch, and check to make sure that you've adjusted it to where it needs to be adjusted, which is an absolute pain in the bum. Just another design choice, which I don't know why they did that, why they couldn't have put a different truss rod end on it, but you know, it is what it is. It's set up now and it plays absolutely beautifully, but just a couple of bits there that really didn't make sense. So when I first got this guitar, it was advertised as being in really good condition, being quite rare, but it also says something about having a tone choke installed to maximize the acoustic capabilities or something. You can call me stupid, whatever. I didn't know what they meant by tone choke, and obviously because there's not many of these around, and they mentioned like acoustic capabilities or something, I just thought that there was something that they put on the guitar because it's like an old 80s Kahler trem system, that they'd done something to mute some kind of vibrations or rattling or something that may have been happening on the guitar. The bridge system sits on top of these two plastic plates. I thought maybe that's something to do with it, to change the angle of the trem system. I didn't know what they meant, but one thing that I did know is that when I plugged the guitar in, everything just sounded like a neck pickup, and I just thought like it's an old 80s guitar with P90s. Maybe they voiced it dark because they just thought people were going to whack loads of gain through it and everything. And I spent ages playing with these like switches here, me and Andy both trying to work out what they did, but everything just sounded muffled and really dark, and just we were like, that can't be a bridge pickup, that sounds so dark. And I'd had the guitar for a week or so, and then it just suddenly struck me in my head, tone choke, what is a tone choke? And in the back of here there was a like black dummy coil thing that when I first got the guitar and looked, I sent it to our luthier and said, any idea what this black thing is? And he looked at it and just said, well, it looks like some kind of dummy coil, which I guess if they were trying to get in on like 80s super shred and everything, then using P90s, it would make sense if they put some kind of dummy coil in the back to wire things through to kind of introduce some kind of hum cancelling element. And I was like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. That's what that black thing is. When I Googled tone choke, that black thing was there, and it's designed to cut the high frequencies of your guitar. There's a few different ones you can get, but someone at some point in this guitar's life decided what would be a great idea is to put a tone choke in the back and have everything just sound like a neck pickup. That is a great idea, and obviously I took that idea and I unsoldered it and I threw it across the room to get out of my guitar, and then this guitar completely opened up and sounded amazing. This is the route on the back of the guitar, which is quite big, but obviously there's a lot to go in the back with the 2 selector switches and the 2 controls and all of the wiring. It all looks original to me, apart from the tone choke that was in there that was wired in between the capacitor and the tone control. I just took the wires off the capacitor and just put it straight back to the tone control, and that fixed all the wiring. I believe all the Q series had the same large route on the back, so even if it just had a single volume control, it still had this huge route, but obviously they make the most of it here with all of this wiring. This guitar has opened up a whole new world of Gibsons to me. Like, people for ages, I've always said I want to be a Les Paul player. In my head, the image of electric guitar, I've just got like a picture of Slash with like a Les Paul and everything. I want to be a Les Paul man, but I just don't get on with Les Pauls. I've owned loads of them and I just don't get on with them. And this, I'm normally a PRS player. I gel with PRSs, but this feels fantastic. It feels great in my hands. Loads of people always say in the position that I'm in, like, I'm a guitar enthusiast, I buy and sell guitars, I get guitars just because I want to try them out, have a bit of fun with them and just go, right, I've tried one of those, I know what they're like. People keep saying to me, like, surely you should have a Gibson in your collection in the position that you're in. And I'm like, yeah, I would love to have a Gibson, but I can't find one that I like. I love this, and it's opened up a whole world of Gibsons that I didn't know existed, and I kind of want more. There's a Q-200 for sale in the UK at the moment, which is the humbucker single coil version that's really beaten up, but they want to, like, it's £1,600. It's in worse condition than this one. It basically needs a refret. It's not got original tuners and stuff, but there's just like a world of Gibsons out there that I want to try. Andy picked up just after I got this, the Gibson M3, which is almost like an evolution of this. You've got humbucker, single coil humbucker. You can switch it to different switching configurations with 2 little switches it's got on it. Very familiar sounding, super Strat style body. They learned from their mistakes and they moved the Strat button, but as I say, it's opened up this whole world of Gibson super Strat style guitars that I just kind of want to get and try out. So I might get more, but this one, for a first one to get, and with how rare it is, I can't believe that I've got hold of this. So a couple of things that I've heard about the guitars, which I don't know if they're true, because again, it's just kind of hearsay, is one, that Grover Jackson had a hand in designing them when he worked at the Gibson custom shop for a while before he moved on. Another is that these were designed as a prototype for Eddie Van Halen to try and lure him over to Gibson as a signature artist. Don't know if any of that's true. They were a Q-300 for a while, and then they just decided to call it the Q-3000, I guess because 1,000 is better than 100. Just absolute mystery out there. And as I say, if you know any solid information on these, please reach out at dan@guitargeargiveaway.co.uk. Drop me a message, find me on Facebook, wherever, and just Let me know any information that you know about these guitars, because I would love to absolutely know more about it. So there we go, that is the Gibson Q-300, 3000, whatever you want to call it. Absolutely fantastic guitar. If you can find one, I don't know how many of these are left in the wild, but if you can find one, definitely check one out, because it is an absolute tonal workhorse. In case you're wondering, I was playing through the Fractal FM9 on the Citrus A30 preset, which I'm assuming is the orange AC30. Nice chimey cleans, nice overdrive tones, but that's what I was playing through. I hope this video has been helpful, and one of the reasons I wanted to do it is because when I was looking out there for videos on this guitar to try and find out about it, there wasn't really anything out there to document this guitar. Trogley's video was great, but there's no kind of like high quality clips of anyone playing these or anything like that. I'm going to take this out, I'm going to love it, I'm going to gig it, and I'm going to have some great fun with it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hit the like button, subscribe if you want to, and other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.